おびとありがとう。バカな、そんなはずが。今度こそあいつらを、世界を守る。
Hey everybody, Bam Collectibles here, back for another statue unboxing review for you. I am extremely excited today to bring to you one of my oldest and most favorite statues in my collection. Be sure to stick around to the end for details on how you can have a chance to win this authentic resin statue of Tsunade by Model Palace. This statue is made by one of the earliest studios in the biz, SxG, and it did come in 2 giant boxes. Jumping right into the base, the first thing we're going to see here is this is all one piece, all together. The chest part of the Susanoo is actually sculpted into the base, as well as all these different chakra or particle effects shooting out the sides, all attached to the base. Down here is the socket, which the power will get some LEDs. As we're going through this statue review, and if you've kind of been around the channel a while to see quite a few reviews, you will notice that this statue is actually quite dated in the way that it all comes together. The front headband nameplate on the statue was sculpted separately. It's also able to stay on securely with this little tiny round magnet that's on the back. Right above the nameplate, you'll see a hole, and that is later where Kakashi's heel will connect to the base. With all these spiky chakra particles shooting out of the side, I can promise you it was a nightmare to unpackage and also ship. On the back, we will see a square cavity. This is where the wings will later connect, and I wanted to show you there are some chip marks on here because resin on top of resin does not go well usually. The effect pieces were happy that statues have evolved since then, and a lot of the different pieces that go on to making a base are sculpted separately and attached with steel rods or magnets. One of the reasons why this statue is one of my favorites and will remain to be is the fact that it's a waist-up Susanoo. You really get that sense of how large and epic they are when they're like this. I unboxed an Itachi statue of his Susanoo made by SxG Studio, and it was the exact same way. It made me feel the exact same way about how it looks. On the inside of the shoulder, we will see a socket with a round impacted magnet there, and then there's a notch on the side here. That's supposed to help it sit into place when it goes onto the body. Unfortunately, it does not do that. There's actually some issues with the way that both of these arms attach to the body. I'll go over how I remedied that personally, but you can see some quality issues there as well with some bubbles and some not as clean resin. This is where the shoulder piece will also go for the armor. One of my favorite parts about this statue is actually the way that they colored all the clear resin for this. I think the perfect shades of both dark and light blue were used in all the right areas. As I mentioned, I do have a remedy for these arms not fitting into the shoulder sockets exactly how I want them to. As a collector, blue tack is a must-have. It reminds me of that toy I used to play with when I was a kid that was like Silly Putty. And what I do is I use it to kind of create another thin or thick layer on a statue when connecting the notches into the grooves. I'll stretch it out until it reaches the desired thickness and then wrap it around to create my layer. I use this kind of technique all the time when putting together statues and those joints just don't fit right. Now this is for a very large joint that doesn't fit, so I'm having to use a lot. Usually I use a very small amount, but do what you got to do to make things secure so nothing falls out. I'll also mention that this does not damage the statue at all. When it's time to remove the piece, it usually just comes right out, no problem. Now, because that extra layer is in place, it does take a little bit more effort to push it in there, but once it's in there, it's really secure. With both of them in, I'm going to give it a little bit extra squeeze just to make sure all is well. The arm or shoulder pads are quite large, and you can see it has that magnet on there, similar to how the last Sasuke statue that I showed, it was an eyesore. Thankfully for this one, the angle in which they sit, they aren't an eyesore. You don't see them at all, but looking straight on like this, you do. I love the color choice that they chose with it being more of a turquoise color. If you couldn't tell by the pose already, he is wielding two Kamui shuriken. One of the things that I always thought was pretty amazing is the fact that, moments after he gained the power and is able to summon the Susanoo, he had like full control of its power and executed it so flawlessly. I mean, it's one of those things where it is what it is, but it is crazy when you think about it, how he was able to do that. So let's go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. First off, he should have had that scar or cut mark along his chest from his fight with Obito. It doesn't, but is what it is. The color choice for his vest and blue undergarment definitely were a little bit lighter than expected as well. If you look at his arm, for some reason, I think there was a little bit of glue or something that dripped down and it dried. You don't really notice it once it's all together, but that's just something that's on there. Overall, though, for this statue being a 3-year-old resin, I think they did a great job with his character sculpt. Definitely on his hair and face, they look great. His hand is in that perfect Chidori position, and if we look at the bottom of his feet also, we will see that there is a steel rod, and that is the primary way that he's going to be attaching to this base and staying in place. Because his hand is in that perfect position, you can expect the Kamui lightning blade to be included. It's sculpted at a clear resin, so it is pretty fragile, and it holds into place by friction alone. So you just put his hand in there, and it's kind of sculpted to stay perfectly in place. When I mentioned in the beginning about how the waist-up Susanoos look so epic, if you recall the last video I did with Sasuke and the head on that, how it was actually pretty tiny, and then compare it to how large this is, it's larger than the size of my hand, it is incredible. I love how flawless the resin is. It's very clear, and the paint application of the black and red there really bring out some of the cracks and details all throughout it. It is attached to the body with one small round magnet, but there is a bit of a shake to it because it's not that strong of a magnet. Taking a step back to showcase the big kahuna, the wings on this thing are massive. This is all one piece, and the second brown box that we showcased in the beginning is actually basically just for the wings alone. The clear resin on the wings are a little bit cloudy, and if you'll notice here, I do have some of that blue tack already surrounding that notch. It was originally sculpted as two pieces, but somehow I guess they glued them together so it is one large one. I always fear of it breaking in half, but nothing has happened so far, thank goodness. Going to attach to that rectangular section in the back, and then again that blue tack is going to help it to really put it into place. I have to be super careful because if the wings touch some of the effects on the side, it could easily snap or break something. Altogether, you can just see how incredibly huge this is. Now it's time to dim the lights. Alright, so the plug for this is buried behind the back of my display case, so I didn't want to take all those apart to get it, so I filmed the footage of it, how it looks inside of my display case. What I love about this thing is it actually has multiple different features, how you can change the way the LEDs are glowing. Unfortunate for me, my daughter, when she was 2 years old, played hide and go seek with the remote that changes those, so I can't show them off. I did want to showcase, though, this piece of artwork that was given to me by a very good friend. Thank you so much, Nick, for sending this. I'll always love how these two look side by side. Definitely love how the LEDs are shining through the body and a little bit on the wings as well. It fits so perfectly inside my 29-inch wide PAX display case. From now through 75,000 subscribers, there is a giveaway going on for an awesome, authentic resin statue of Tsunade by Model Palace. To participate, all you have to do is take the time to write a meaningful comment on videos released between July 1st, 2020 and the day I hit 75,000 subscribers. A random comment will be selected from a random video during those dates to select the winner. Special shout out and thank you to my members. If you aren't aware, there was a recent change to the Kage level tier in which you will receive a 10% off monthly coupon for Favor GK to place orders as needed. Again, that's a monthly coupon. Let me know if you ever have any questions about memberships. I hope you enjoyed this statue unboxing and review. I am very much looking forward to, in my next shipment of statues, a Madara Susanoo that's also waist up that we're going to be showcasing that's going to be very different from the ones that I've done so far. Do me a quick favor, and if you enjoyed this video, click that subscribe button, notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. Thank you so much for checking everything out, and as always, everybody, do what you love and love what you do. Bam out.